Pizza pie. Yeah, it's Italian again. We're doing an Italian movie again. Nick is not available this week. He'll be back. He'll be back maybe by the end of Giallo month. But we do have a special guest, so let's let me just get this going a little bit.
Round of applause.
Well, I'm gonna introduce him in a second.
Sorry.
Okay. So it's your favorite final girl, Emily, and your favorite final babysitter, Mike.
Yo.
And special guest Jeremy from the amazing podcast Fans of the Dead.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing just ducky. Got the day off tomorrow.
Dude. Guy.
You're
trying to do my Boston accent.
So you got to pull out it's wicked.
You can't. Wicked hard.
Is it wicked?
Wicked hard. I think it's wicked hard.
Is it like
there's so much stupid shit that we're stereotyped with.
There was a VH1 like reality show that I think lasted for one season because they were trying to, I think, like do something like the Jersey Shore, but it was set in Boston. And no one remembers it but me, but I watched it. It was so bad. It was not interesting, but they just said wicked hot a lot.
But the mayor from The Simpsons, he's supposed to have the Boston accent, right?
Oh, he's basically supposed to be Ted Kennedy.
Yeah.
I do love Ted Kennedy. Besides
the
the drowning incident, I think he was the hottest Kennedy.
The Chappaquiddick.
Yeah, besides him letting that woman drown.
I mean, he left her for like 12 hours. It's fine.
I mean, it's okay. It's whatever. So anyway, well, tell us about your podcast real quick before we get into this.
So we're actually very similar to what you guys are, although we don't stick to just slashers, but basically we cover a movie each month. You guys are more weekly than we are. And then we do like side tangents where we do a countdown. And
like your tangents. The tangent episodes are cool.
Yeah. So we do that. We release 3 shows a month, and we're everywhere you can find a podcast, Spotify, iTunes, or whatever it's called now. It's Apple Podcast, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google Podcast, Stitcher, Deezer, which I guess is a thing. We just got on TikTok. We're on Instagram, Fans of the Dead Podcast. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere.
Love the TikTok.
They love the TikTok.
I do our TikTok. Like you don't. Do you even have
a TikTok?
You didn't know that?
I don't know.
I just jumped on that train.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a bit. I usually just post the trailers and the kill count videos on them anyway. But so like I said, we're coming at you with a new episode of Gag Me with a Knife, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. I'm not going to do it like him.
That was my Nick impression.
Yeah, best and worst. Gag Me with a Knife continues this month of Giallos with 1972's The Case of the Bloody Iris. And I'm going to read the back of the whatever, the box.
Nice box.
Well, I got to make sure that I just have to, because it's called 2 different things. Oh, that's the other one. Never mind. Okay. The other one has 3 names. Okay. When 2 young women are viciously slain in a luxury high rise, a beautiful young model, Edwige Finish, oh, love her, moves into one of their vacated apartments and soon finds that she is now being stalked by her ex-husband, and the mysterious killer. But the suspects are her ex-husband, a predatory lesbian neighbor,
I feel like they could have.
The deformed son of a sinister widow, which you don't find out till the end. So, and even the building's handsome architect, George Hilton, also hot, who suffers from a paralyzing fear of blood. Can she expose the masked maniac with a taste for luscious women and depraved murder before she becomes his next victim? 1972. What were your thoughts on this one, Jeremy?
So,
general.
Just general. So, I'm relatively new to the Giallos. So I turned this movie on, and of course, my wife loves horror movies. And so I put this on, and she literally thought I was watching 70s porn.
I can see that. Well, I don't know if it was that one or Strange because I watched them both at the same time, but where they have that sex scene where like it looks like her vagina's in the wrong place.
Oh yeah, that was
That's in
that was
Strange
the second
Divides.
one.
That's
Yeah,
that's in Strange.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, that's it. I was like,
that was,
I took a few pictures of that because I was like, that's odd. But no, I got real into giallos for a while, like about 15 years ago or
Yeah,
something.
everybody has a phase, you know.
Yeah, I had a giallo phase, but I'm getting back into it. So this used to be my favorite one. I've decided that another one is my favorite one instead so far. But I do really like this movie. I love the music.
I like that they're not super like predictable. I mean, it's horror murder she wrote. It's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they do become very predictable when you realize that the least likely person to be the killer is going to be the killer. So you can start picking up because it'll be like some random, like not with Strange Vices much, but with most of the other ones, you can start picking out.
But you mentioned Murder, She Wrote. It's crazy that Edwige's name in this is Jennifer Lansbury. I don't even know if Murder, She Wrote.
That's in that is okay. Yeah, her name's Julie in there. Yeah.
But it was Murder, She Wrote.
No,
around?
that was in the
like
80s.
The books,
that was in
maybe?
like no.
It was like the 80s. It was like the mid to late 80s.
I don't know. I don't think they had book. Was it based off of a book?
But
no, she was a writer.
Oh yeah,
she was a writer in the show.
Yeah.
Well, the name of the writer is the same as the name of the character.
Her name's Angela.
But Angela Lansbury's the actress, but Jessica.
What's her? Her name's her name's like Jessica something.
Oh, Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah,
that's the name of the character. But also,
my mother watched a lot of Murder, She Wrote. I did not watch it.
I never watched it either, but I know that.
Sit, good boy, sit.
Does it Mary Tyler Moore? Oh no, that's Family Ties. That's Family. Yeah, it was Family Ties.
I think it's the same production.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike,
Lansbury.
get us going on this.
All right.
movie.
So at the beginning, it says the name of the director is Anthony Ascott, but it's really Giuliano. I can't remember your name right now.
Yes, Giuliano Versace. It's not. No, it's not something that I can. It's Giuliano Carnemeo.
And I have an Italian degree. As embarrassing.
I thought you did. That's what I said.
That was
what does one do with an Italian degree?
He works at McKay's.
Yeah, I used to work at a sushi bar, and now I work at a bookstore. It's kind of like my anthropology degree. You go to grad school, or you just have shitty jobs the rest of your life.
Or you go to grad school and you still have shitty jobs, like I did. So
there you go.
The grass is always greener. Mm-hmm. I wish I didn't have that $100,000. So I got $100,000 now.
I don't have student.
How does that happen?
I don't have student loans.
I went to Europe a couple times on my student loans. Okay, so back to the case of the Bloody Iris. So this lady's buying this weird phone token, which seemed kind of foreign to me. Oh yeah, but we're in a foreign country, so she gets on the phone and there's a female voice on the other end. It's like, "Oh, come on up. I'm here alone." And then we see this pretty lady walking across town. I'm pretty sure it's Rome. And there's a beautiful Bruno Nicolai score going on. There's a bunch of people like waiting to get on an elevator. And then they get on the elevator and there's close up of all these everyday, regular Italian people faces. And a man gets on. We see him putting on these golden gloves. Most Giallos have the black gloves.
Yeah, that is true. That's a difference in this one.
We've got golden gloves.
Oh, by the way, hold on. Sorry. Shout out to Marlene. She's our new Patreon. And I forgot to call her out on the Don't Torture a Duckling. So, Marlene, you're awesome. And I'm so sorry that I just forgot.
You on Facebook, hon.
Yeah, she's amazing. Marlene's awesome. Also, Katie, you're a bitch. Okay, go on.
Oh, yeah, Katie. And Nick, if you're listening, why aren't you here, boy? You owe me $20.
He's probably not.
Oh, yeah, he never listens. I haven't missed an episode yet. Okay, so like they go up to 16. At some point, everybody gets off the elevator.
That girl gets a phone call first.
Yeah.
Luna. Her name's Luna. She's she's talking to somebody. We find out later that's a lesbian, but
yeah.
So she's like on the elevator, yeah.
She's on the elevator. There's 4 people in there. 2 old people get off, and as soon as I think she was about to get off there too, because that was the floor the lesbian lives on. But she's grabbed from behind, and somebody has a rag over her mouth, and he pulls out some funky looking knife.
Out.
What kind of knife is that?
I don't. Oh, it's straight.
It was like a scalpel. It looked like a scalpel.
Right. So yeah, this was like kind of a.
Oh, it's a scalpel. It's the scalpel.
Is that an old school scalpel?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, he cuts that throat. He's hacking and slashing, and he ends up getting off at level 16, but he hits 20 on his way out. So maybe that's where all those people live, on the top floor.
Well, I think he just wanted it to take longer.
But he ends up getting found by the beautiful, how do you say their name? Mizar?
Mizar.
Mizar.
Yeah.
Mizar.
It's Mizar. I know that. I know. They say it enough times. The black,
Tid and
the black,
Batchel.
the black.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my bad. With Tid.
Yeah, this is Mizar.
No, Batchel was that guy's name, but I was wrong with Tid. His name
that was Ty and an ampersand.
But anyway.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jeremy. Just reminiscing about old times. That might have been my first episode.
It was. No, it was your second one.
Second episode. Okay, but yeah, she's found by Mizar, the casino stripper, wrestler, whatever she is, a violin professor and father of lesbians.
We don't know that yet.
And Miss Moss, also a mother, which we don't know that yet either.
Yeah, she's a widow. She's a widow as far as we know.
A war widow.
This was hilarious because they're literally just staring at a dead body, right? And there's like no expression, no like shock. It was just like, huh.
Well, Mizar's like, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, Mizar's like, I gotta get out of here.
I'm sorry.
And then they just left her there.
The old lady just left her there. To her room. As people, there's like a huge crowd. I guess they like assume the cops will get to it eventually. At the bottom of the stairs, like there's all these people like yelling for the elevator, and the old guy, the violin teacher, who's pretty important later on. He's like, there was a young girl murdered up here. If you
should know.
Well, I guess he is a professor, so I don't think he was a professor of violin though.
He's some kind of professor. He definitely plays the violin.
He definitely does that.
He works a mean tape recorder.
That's true.
But that was just funny. They're like, all right, we'll go to work. Just leave her there.
Speaking of work, then we have a photographer and an architect.
Oh, that guy was hilarious.
Yeah, the photographer was the best part of the movie, I thought.
I love the photographer. I really do.
I don't Filippo or something.
Oh, his name is
this movie's bad about.
It's not. His name is Arnold or something like that.
It's like Andrew.
His name's Arthur.
Arthur and Andrea.
He's like I know in one part because I think it's supposed to lend you to think that he's gay because because at one point he was like, oh yeah, that's so hot, that even makes me hot, like that's so hot it would even make, like, so I was like, are you just trying to like, okay, we already kind of got the gay character, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't come into play.
Yeah, he reminded me a lot of like Nathan Lane.
Yeah,
I thought like he would be like, that's how Andy Warhol would act, except for he'd try to be cooler or something.
Yeah,
Andy would be way more awkward.
Yeah, he's an asshole. I mean, as far as I've heard.
Why don't you try to kill him in an wait, what's the lady's name? The scum gal that tried to shoot Andy Warhol. They made a movie about it.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I just know that
I used to know the name.
What's his face? John McEnroe didn't really like him, but then again, John McEnroe is also an asshole.
John McEnroe don't like nobody.
John McEnroe would like me.
That's very fair.
And he also likes Patty Smythe. They're married, so.
Okay.
And at one point, he liked Tatum O'Neal because they were married.
Are you trying to blow John McEnroe?
Yes, I love him. Actually, I fucking love him. They just put out a documentary about him.
God. I heard him on NPR.
No, he's fantastic. I would fuck him now. I love him. You know, I'll always like the asshole athletes.
Yeah,
Bill Laimbeer, John McEnroe. Go others.
Your dream threesome.
My dream threesome is Bill Laimbeer and John McEnroe. No, that's not my.
I was about to say, I don't think I've ever heard one person ever say that. No, that would be a first.
It would be like David Hess vibe.
Oh yeah, he'd have his way.
But you know that he's I don't think
he's probably the nicest of those three.
He is probably, and also he directed like some stuff and wrote music and stuff. I bet he's really he's dead, but I bet he was really nice. Now who's not dead is Russell Todd, who was my number one crush, and really still nice. Fucking hot and really nice.
Yeah,
but he's married.
Mentioned with these other creeps.
I don't know who was my
You
number
love
2.
creeps, Emily.
Billy Loomis. Skeet Ulrich's still alive.
He's a creep too.
He's not in real life. You don't know that, probably.
All right, back to the movie.
Anyway,
unless you want to get more in here, Jeremy. Who's your dream threesome?
Okay, do a terrible dream 3 because those are just
Guilty
my 2
pleasures.
favorite athletes because they're assholes. Because the Detroit Bad Boys Pistons, that's the best era.
Run a train on it.
God, fuck, I would let the Bad Boy era Pistons run a train on me. I would.
I hope you knew what you were getting into.
I mean, only the starters though, and probably add Kevin McHale in there. He was really nice, Celtics, but I mean hot.
I thought Rodman was the 6th man.
No, well, I think he did get that award, but so did Kevin McHale for like the first 2 years because he wasn't a starter for like the first 2 years.
Are you a big Larry Bird?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but me too. I think he's. I always.
I mean,
say
he's
Magic
goofy.
and Larry.
He's goofy as fuck, but he was an asshole.
Magic and Larry, if they had not existed, Michael Jordan wouldn't have existed. So therefore, Michael Jordan is not the best basketball player of all time. It is between Magic and Larry.
Kareem.
Thank you. High five.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Over the thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah, back to the ad man.
Oh yeah, no. Who's your dream athlete threesome?
I was trying to let him get out of it.
Ah, damn it, man! You know what? We may have to circle back to this because this requires thought.
It's got to be meanies though.
Doesn't have to be.
It's got to be worth it. I just
It's your dream.
It's your dream.
Yeah, it's your dream. So back to the movie.
Okay, so Edwige, and I think is that Marilyn with her at the beginning, just in a wig?
Yeah.
Because they have painted on like jerseys.
Yeah, because Edwige's character's name is Jennifer. She has on a wig as well. Both of them have on wigs.
They're looking fly.
Her wig is a mullet.
Yeah.
I thought Sports Illustrated like made up the painting on women clothing, but this is way before that.
Italians
and
are
insane.
insane.
Hot. So yeah, they're like trying to sell motorcycles, and we see a photo right before it cuts away. It shows a photo of Mazir, and then we jump to the casino.
It's Mizar, by the way. Her name is actually Mizar Harrington, like Steve Harrington. Matt, I don't know, but it's Mizar. So anyway.
Okay, so we go to the casino where she is heckling the crowd, trying to get some big, strong man to come and wrestle with her for 3 minutes, and she'll be their slave.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, this is a weird sex club that you have to have a membership to.
There's a lot of weird sex stuff in this movie.
Well, I mean, they say because when they go and talk to them later, they're like, we don't usually give out their names because they pay for this membership.
Yeah,
but it's like, so this is like sex club it's a strip club, I guess, but they like watch them wrestle. Or
I think that might have
maybe it's just her thing. And she's like, if you could last 3 minutes with me, then I'll be your slave. And she happens to be black, so there's some racial.
That was something. But nobody wanted in. They're just like, nope, I want no part of this.
Well, they pushed that one guy. That one guy does go in, and
you do it.
Yeah, she wins.
Yeah, he
very choreographed too, because that part where she like jumps and her legs split open, and he like just happens to be sliding between her legs.
Yeah, they had some good action in there. Some nice judo tosses.
Yeah, I bet that
she makes him tap out in less than 3 minutes with some kind of foot stranglehold. She has like her feet on either side of his neck.
You should know what that's called. I
don't think that's a real pro move.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
Plus wrestling, I've never seen that one before.
I just realized.
But 70s is a little before my time. That might have been like Antonino.
It's an oversized shirt. I look really fat in this shirt.
I mean, I'm a wrestling nerd too, so I haven't seen it.
And I'm excited. I just got the Stardom membership. I'm going to be watching Dream Queendom here coming up on the 29th. It's going to be nice.
I really liked
it's women's wrestling.
I got that. I got that. I really liked what is it called?
These girls would have
cleaned up. What's the thing? What's the show that I really like?
Dark Side.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, Dark Side of the Ring was excellent.
That shit, it's awesome. And like, I liked it back in like the early 90s. And I remember New Jack and R.I.P. He like died last year.
Was fire.
Well, no, he died this year. So
yeah, he died like not long after his episode came out.
Yeah. I mean, it was this year. Overdose.
Pouring out some Clamato for my man New Jack. Oh, not on the computer, Mike.
No. Okay, so she finishes whatever.
Yeah, she
goes home.
And George Hilton is there. I mean, Andrea. What do you guys prefer, Edwige and George Hilton, or Jennifer?
Just say George Hilton and Edwige, but Edwige is Jennifer in this movie. George Hilton is Andrea. They are a big duo. They have a lot of Giallo together.
Sure.
So we'll just call them that. That's fine.
Yeah, they're going to be all over this episode and the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So George Hilton's there, and he sets up a dinner meeting with Mazir. We don't see the dinner meeting. It's just brought up later. But
yeah. She goes home. And this is where I noticed, I don't know why. Okay. I don't know why I wrote this, but I did notice that in these movies, matches and lighters really go a long way. Like they'll light a match and it just like lights up the entire fucking room.
It's like the excuse of the director to just like turn everything back on.
I was like, I mean, it'd be one thing if there were like a bunch of candles. I think in one they do end up having candles that they light, but in there's one where it's just a match, and I'm just like, okay, that is not gonna light this up that much. Yeah. Anyway,
but before Mazar gets home, we do see Edwige and the photographer, and she like apparently has been like taking pictures all day, and she like snaps and she sees like a vision of Adam.
No, he's there.
And the sex cult. This is at the photography. She's like there. In a picture take. Oh, is he there?
Yes. Her ex-husband. Yes, her ex-husband. Or
she starts freaking out.
Her ex-husband.
She has like a daydream thing. And
but he was actually there.
I don't think he was in the
He was because he talked
to her. No, he was. I think he was actually there because didn't he like threaten her or something?
Yes, he comes up to her when she's leaving the shoot and threatens her. It's her like ex-husband, and they were in this sex cult together. Yeah. And she's
she keeps finding irises at least twice in the movie. She finds an iris.
And she knows those are she figures those are from him because I guess that was like part of the
she freaks
sex
out.
Cult that
the
she
room,
was in.
They do the room spinning dream sequence deal. She leaves. She's walking down the street at night. There's a flower there, and she's followed and confronted by Adam, the flower man.
Her ex-husband.
And we get
he's not just a flower dude.
No, but they like apparently we're having some orgies, and
they did a lot of
had a weird flower cult.
I think it was also like
I wish there was more of the cult.
There was blood involved in this cult, I think too. It was like a blood cult, like some kind of
I'm sorry, but that's all. I draw the line at that shit.
Yeah, the thing is they don't go enough into it.
Maybe all the colors. The dark. There's one of these like old.
I thought it was Strange Vice.
It has more of.
I thought it was Strange Vice, but it wasn't. But there is another one that has more of the
your vice is.
Your vice is a locked room, maybe. But that they don't really go. I mean, she was in a cult, a sex cult, but like besides that, they don't really like go.
This guy does says that they were celestially married, which I take that to mean they're not legally married.
Yeah,
but he keeps calling himself her husband. And he'll keep following her and bugging her throughout the film.
Yeah, and he's not cute.
Yeah, he's not cute.
Wait, but in Strange Vice, she also has an ex-husband that's bothering her from the cult, right?
I mean, it's a Giallo. They all are basically the same.
Yeah, I know.
Just like mixed up like a jigsaw puzzle.
Well, this one less. Anyway, whatever.
But there's this really cool shot where it's like showing a goblet, like a golden goblet. And like you can see the orgy in the reflection. I thought that was hot. And then this is when we just telling Adam like, I don't dig Polly. I want to be owned by a man. And Adam's about he's attacking her. He's about to inject her with a syringe. No telling what's in that. But she like escapes.
Hopefully Quaaludes.
Yeah, dude.
Anyone want
Holla holla.
We every episode we've been trying to ask someone for one Quaalude.
Unless you're in the FBI.
Well, I don't think anyone
I don't say those letters.
Okay.
So we see Mizar. I said it right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got it right that time. Yeah.
A broken clock is even right twice a day. Is that the saying?
What? I don't know what the fuck
the
that
boy
means.
who followed wolf.
It's cried wolf. The boy who cried wolf.
That's the
oh my
joke.
God. Anyway, go on.
Mizar gets on the elevator and she like mentally sees the girl. So she's like, fuck it, I'm taking the stairs. Even though it's the 20th floor, that's a lot of stairs.
And she just like wrestled a lot. She's probably
tired from kicking that guy's ass.
Well, I mean, she's
sore.
So the power's out in her room and door slams.
That's what she uses matches, and it's like brightens up her whole fucking apartment.
There's a recording of her performance. So I guess
that part was cool. Where they start playing the audio recording
back in later.
It's like, come on, big boy.
Yeah, she finds some matches and she's fucking around with the matches, and she finally lights the stove and grabs a knife, but she comes around the corner and we see her get knocked out by a man in golden gloves, and he then strips and binds her, and puts her in the tub, which is filling up, and she can't move, and he's watching, and we see her like bubbling underwater.
This goes back to
it looked really cool when she was like dying.
This goes back to our
do I sound like a bad person for saying that?
This goes back to our question of would you rather, in our last episode, would you rather be burned alive or drowned?
Burning takes a long time.
I feel like drowning, the sheer panic I would have from drowning.
So I have a horrid fear of drowning. Like
me too. Because have you seen The Legacy?
Yes.
Okay, you know what scene I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
That's where, okay, where we talked about this in the last episode.
Yeah.
After I saw that scene in that movie, he's never seen it, but ever since then, I was like petrified.
I bet you guys money if you drowned and then had to fast forward and then get burned to death.
No, I get it. I get it. Burning would suck.
But also,
you can stop the drowning.
But you can die just from the smoke inhalation pretty quickly if you just like.
People had to pay to get water thrown on shit to make that happen. If you were rich, you would be allowed to like.
Yeah, but like you can't, like it's not your natural instinct to inhale water, but it would be for you to inhale air. So you could just inhale air
for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but not if they would be dead. Like they might not be. They'd be unconscious probably the whole time.
Yeah, at some point you got to go unconscious from the pain.
And from the smoke inhalation. It's gonna.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. So I think you would die. I think you would like.
I'm still taking drowning.
Whatever. I think you would feel it for less time, and I think I'd panic way more in a drowning situation.
I would too. I would flail like a little kid.
Like it would be.
Can you imagine being tied up in a bathtub though? There's that drowning like that seems.
No, I love being tied up in a bathtub. Just kidding. That's actually not something I've ever done for real.
So we see her drown, and then the next scene is like police photographers taking pictures, and the guy's like, "Hey, can I empty the tub? I want to get a dry one. I want to get a dry."
Picture. And they find a note, right? And it has some like some
lesbian handwriting.
They use some pretty racist language in this part.
Oh yeah, there's it's pretty naughty.
Yeah, and then like there's a bit of police brutality in this scene. One of the policemen like he says, I think he says something about police brutality. He's like, yeah, you want to see police brutality, and like he hits somebody, or it's like soon after.
All I know is the cop loves some fucking stamps. The commissioner is all about his stamp collection.
Both of those cops are ugly and annoying, just by the way.
Yes.
They made me chuckle. They made me chuckle.
Oh, also though, I think we forgot to say this, but Jennifer and Edwige and Marilyn, and I guess like the girl at the beginning and Mizar, they're all strippers. Or like worse with Jennifer and Marilyn, I think were strippers, but they're like now they're trying to do modeling to get out of stripping.
They've all been fucked. This violinist's daughter.
Not all. No. Marilyn and Jennifer didn't.
Well, he thinks that they're bad influences.
I guess. I mean, if just being around a woman it would be, I guess.
But the girl at the beginning, she was being called up by Sheila.
She was being called up by her. Yeah. We find that out later, but yeah. So Next we
Can
find
I talk about the very end? Is Sheila still calling whores over at the end of the movie?
she's dead.
She did die, didn't she?
Yeah.
I thought maybe she was real burned up.
No, she died.
Maybe it's Miss Moss?
No.
Wait.
But also right about
somebody calls up a whore at the end of the movie.
It's probably, who knows? There are a lot of people that hate whores.
Come
but,
on up, I'm alone.
Andrea, that's George Hilton's character. That's when we find out that he has like a blood phobia.
Yes.
Soon after, because they like clean up that apartment, Mizar's apartment, real fast.
So what you were talking about, the police violence, the cops go to the nightclub owner.
Oh,
and
yeah,
beat him up.
That's what it is. Yeah, because they want the list of members,
and he ends up giving it up because he's
right.
Bit. And yes, we go to George Hilton and Edwige in the apartment.
And apparently he's the architect of the building. I don't think that
they move into
but they clean up that apartment, and he's the one finding them to rent out this apartment. An architect of an apartment doesn't do that usually, but
yeah, Edwige is like
whatever,
opening corned beef or sardines or something and cuts her finger,
and he sees blood, and he's like
freaking out.
He freaks out because he has a severe blood phobia. So that's important. That is important to know.
So, and Marilyn makes a funny joke about how
none of her jokes are funny. So
no, she's like he couldn't be the killer because of the blood thing, and she's like, strangling's the clean way. I thought that was cute.
She is so stupid and annoying.
And that's when you could hear the violin playing in the other room.
Yeah, because Edwige said something about it. It seems like
George Hilton's lying about having been there before.
Who?
I thought George Hilton was kind of a red herring.
He is a red herring.
Because he's like, I've never been in this apartment before, even though I designed it. But
I'm finding.
But he knows the violinist guy. He's like, oh, that must be the professor next door. And she's like, I thought you said you've never been here. So Marilyn plays this prank where it is the dumbest thing she isn't answering their calls. They're freaked out. So they bust into the bathroom, and she's like, oh my God.
She's chilling in the tub.
Yeah, she hops up and just covered in suds. I thought it was cute.
I thought it was stupid.
Emily, you think everything's stupid.
Well,
I'm sure they thought it was stupid.
You don't do that right after someone dies.
George Hilton just smacks her in the face.
Oh, I love that.
He just smacks her across the face.
Oh, he slaps her across the face, and then her response to it is hilarious too.
It is hilarious. She's just like,
Well, at first she doesn't say anything at all. She's like, apologize. She starts talking about something else, and then she's like, my jaw kind of hurts from being slapped, but like no big deal.
He waylaid her.
But that is a thing in Giallos. They do especially George Hilton does hit women in movies.
Well, George Hilton, like when he runs out, he like walks through traffic, like trying to get hit, which is kind of the Italian way.
Well, it's the New York way too, I bet.
Hey, I'm walking over here. But we see somebody.
Yeah, it is Italian Americans. So
Adam, so George Hilton's getting in his car, and Adam, the ex-husband.
Oh no! Wait! No! Time out!
Him.
There's a quote before that. I think it's before that when he says, George Hilton says to Edwige, he says, "Wait till I try to make it with you, and you find out what a bastard I am." And I was like, that is the most facts thing I've ever heard.
It's I like make it. I don't like make it. That's pretty 70s.
I was like, no facts. Yeah, when he actually gets your poontang, he's gonna be a dick. That's true. Facts. I mean,
true.
Facts all day. And then someone says a pretty girl is never ridiculous, which I thought that was dumb.
I think that might have still been him. So Adam
he's lying.
But Adam's like, stay away from Edwige, she's mine.
And don't trust your neighbors, the women at least.
There's a scene where the cop and the photographer are talking about George Hilton, and they talk about the blood phobia and shit. But then we see at some point Edwige is in her room asleep, and the killer sneaks up on next to her bed and puts his hands on her throat, which wakes her up. She starts screaming, and Marilyn wakes up, and she just thinks she's crazy. No, she says that she nonchalantly talks about, your time with the sex cult really fucked you up, basically. Yeah. She's like, oh, la-di-da about it. I mean, I was like, girl, you don't give a fuck. You just don't give a fuck. There was a cool shot during that thing where there's a mirror on the table, and Marilyn's in bed, and you can see Edwige in her bed through the mirror.
I like that shot too. Yeah.
But Adam's watching everything.
Well, that's what you usually do when you watch movies.
Yeah, that's true.
So everything.
But Marilyn and,
I only watch half the
Marilyn
screen.
and Edwige go to a cafe, and this is where we get introduced to Sheila, because Marilyn's kind of trying to hit on her, it seems like.
No, she wants to try to make money, is what.
Which apparently I think means be Sheila's hooker.
I think that, I don't know, was it Sheila? I also got the vibe that Sheila might be a madam as well.
Possibly. But her dad walks up and
her dad is a violinist guy.
We see Edwige walking in Rome. Adam's watching her, of course. The cop and George Hilton have this weird conversation about Mazir, where the cop's like, everyone wants a black girl. Like, man, the 70s were wild.
It's Mizar.
What did I say, Mazir again?
Yep.
Shit. So at this
point, didn't he say something where it was like, oh, but she's not too black or something like that? Was that earlier?
At some point, yeah.
And then somebody's like, as black as your sin.
She's pretty black, though. I mean,
yeah,
she's like, I mean, she looks like she'd be in a black exploitation movie. She's not light skinned or anything.
No, not at all.
No, she's not like Grace Jones dark, but she's coffee.
I thought she was beautiful.
She is. I'm just saying, I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, that'd be like being saying that I wasn't super white. I clearly am.
Kind of pink.
Well, that's true. But I mean, we aren't talking about shades.
So George Hilton gets out of the cop office, and I think he's trying to call Edwige, and Edwige is running into the apartment. But as soon as she hangs up, or as soon as she picks up, he hangs up. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Who, George?
But Adam's in there, and he rips off her clothes. And wait, we do find out it couldn't have been Adam, right? I don't know. There's some stuff that's kind of time-wise confusing to me a little bit. But the cops.
When do we hear the?
It's flashing back and forth between the cop and George Hilton and Edwige in her apartment.
When is the first time that she hears a man's voice and Marilyn's like, I don't hear it?
I think you're maybe 10 minutes ahead of me. I'm gonna get real fast, real quick. Unless Jason, you want to interject anything here before I speed?
No, speed away.
All right. So George Hilton, he picks up Edwige. The cops are following him. They talk about Adam, have dinner. The cops watching and reporting back to the fucking boss.
Yeah.
They're walking in the park. Yeah. We get another update call. He drops.
He's watching them on a date.
I try to make it.
Yeah, he's watching them on a date. Yeah.
And then she's back at home. The bathroom, the windows are open. It's okay. She's about to take off her clothes, but the golden glove is there. And we know it's not Adam at this point. There's some more cool mirror tricks. She runs and takes shelter at Sheila. Okay. At Sheila's house. She runs out of the apartment. She runs into Sheila's, or she knocks and Sheila lets her in. But then the violin dude comes in and he's acting funny.
That's her dad.
Yeah, violin daddy, Professor Guy. He's acting funny, and Sheila takes her home. We can kind of tell Sheila's into her. And she shows her the broken lamp. Then Marilyn shows up, and we kind of think, oh, Marilyn thinks she's crazy. But then we see the bloody iris on the floor. There's blood on the closet door. They open up the closet,
and then Adam is in there. Yeah, that's how we know it's not Adam.
And the cop is the cop is with Edwige at the station, and is like, oh, maybe it was a lover's suicide. It's nobody fucking commits suicide by stabbing themselves in the gut.
Yeah, they do. Elliot Smith.
He shot himself.
No, he didn't. He stabbed himself in the chest.
Oh, I'm thinking of Sparkle Horse guy. He shot himself in the chest.
My God, yeah.
That's a different podcast, right
close to
there.
Home, right there. So.
Does anybody do a suicide podcast?
No.
Maybe you must remember this.
I'm sure. I bet someone does.
How famous people kill themselves.
Elliot Smith did that. Well, they think that. Well, some people
famous.
No. Yeah. Some people think that his girlfriend did it, but. He wrote it.
Not Gabby.
No.
Oh, Elliot.
Oh my God.
I love you, girl.
No.
If you're gonna do it, make sure it counts. I mean, I'm not gonna shoot myself in the stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't stab myself in the chest either. Because also, what movie? Oh, it's in Reservoir Dogs. They talk about how much
it takes a long.
How how usually you won't die from a shot to the gut.
You're gonna be okay.
It's just like
Sing the fucking goddamn song.
Like it takes a really fucking long time.
You're gonna be okay, Larry.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't be. Yeah, if you're gonna try it, don't do it that way.
The cop has this crazy idea. He's like, "Yeah, don't move out yet. We want to use you as bait," which is always a bad idea. We see Marilyn painting her toenails, and they're talking about
that's when
how the cops think it's Sheila.
That's when she starts saying she hears Mrs. Moss, the widow.
She's like, "Who lives next door?"
So she hears her, but and then she's like, I hear her talking to a man, and Marilyn's like, Marilyn's like, I think you're imagining it. And then that's when they go back to the cops, and the cops have found, they've finally like gotten the results from the handwriting sample, Mizar's love note or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's reveals that that the note was from Sheila, the violinist's daughter, who's the lesbian. Happens,
we see Miss Moss buying horror tales at the
horror tales. That made me laugh. That was great. You need to be a special crazy person to buy horror tales.
Buy horror tales. I was like, I need some old horror tales.
It's basically, was it just like a comic book?
Yeah.
It probably was like.
It was probably for her son.
EC horror shit.
Oh, it was.
It might have just been a Giallo, right?
No, it wasn't. But anyway,
ghastlier than
so NC, he's the other detective. He interviews Sheila, the lesbian, and so that's when she comes out as a lesbian. We don't know that till just now. And
the cop basically tells her to get strictly dickly or she's gonna get in trouble.
Right, but she also admits she admits at that moment that she was also the one who hired Luna at the beginning of the film.
Yes.
So that she admits that, and that's when Andrea or George Hilton invites Jennifer over to his house, where he's like, "I love that." No, that is where they have. Is that where they have weird sex?
No, that's
in Strange Nights. Okay,
they have sex in a different movie.
But then it's like cuts to the next day, and Marilyn's out, just like, I don't know.
Oh, but at one point the cop is like watching, and he's like, "Yeah, they're really going at it, boss."
Yeah, he needs to get off that detail. It's not. I mean, it's clearly
it's a waste of our tax.
Well, they figured out wouldn't they be going harder towards Sheila? Anyway, whatever. I mean, what was the whole fucking point of that?
I'm not real sure.
The handwriting sample was okay. So she hired Luna. She's the only one that has a connection to the two deaths. So, like, why is he still on detail for George Hilton and Edwige and not watching the lesbian? I mean, it's clearly not going to be the lesbian because it's too obvious.
You should be a Roman cop from the 70s because you would have caught this guy earlier.
I guess, yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't have because she wasn't the killer either. But
But it's the next day, and we see Marilyn walking with gifts down the street.
She's having just she didn't give a shit about anything.
She sees somebody that she recognizes because she's like, "Oh, hey!" But then the man in golden gloves stabs her right on the sidewalk, and
nobody gives a shit. Nobody. No one cares.
So, but all out of nowhere, Andrea is there,
and he just happens to be.
Yeah. He gets out of a taxi, or he was waiting for a taxi. He's just there, and
the cop's eating a salami sandwich.
So he sees her, and he gets scared by the blood, and so he runs. But that makes the cops think that
everybody is pointing.
Well, first of all, I was about to say, like, everyone's like in a circle, like pointing at him, like, you did this, and he's just like, dude, she just came to me.
And also, I'm afraid of blood.
He's afraid of blood. He's like freaking out.
Yeah. So the cops are telling Jennifer that they think George Hilton is the killer, but she's like, there's no way. He's innocent. He's scared of blood. Yeah. So she goes back to her apartment. Stupid.
This is where Miss Mop, she runs into Miss Mops.
Yes. She does.
Picks it up for her.
But then she hears. Then, like in the next scene, she hears Miss Moss with the male voice again.
She's like washing her hands, and she hears that arguing. And
so she breaks into their apartment.
I knew at that point the magazines were for somebody else. Yeah, Miss Moss leaves and gets on the elevator, and we just watching outside of her door. But she goes and rings the doorbell, like the guy's just going to answer the door.
David.
But then she tries the keys, and one of the keys opens the door to her neighbor's house, and like, if I'm sneaking in somebody's house, I'm just going to leave that door open so I can get out as fast as possible. But she, like, closes the door behind her.
Yeah, so she finds Miss Moss's son, who's a secret. He's this deformed guy named David, and then Miss Moss gets back and yells at her, and she kicks her out.
Cops,
no, did they ever say what actually happened to him?
No, I think it looks like he was burned. Though.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sheila looks just like him at the.
She does. I thought they were the same person. So then Jennifer calls the police, but
they can't find shit.
But they can't find David because Miss Moss has hit him.
Like a secret by the time, room or something?
Yeah, and she's like, "I live alone, whatever." And so,
he was basically Harry Potter because he was like living in the closet, like underneath the stairs.
Or like I felt like it was more of like a Bad Ronald situation. You know,
that too.
Like where his mom like creates like a whole like she shuts off like part of the house and like builds a wall.
Right. And like all his like comic books and horror tales books were like up on the wall.
Yeah, that's all he has.
Yeah, he had the whole damn set.
But Jennifer
so she's like, fuck the police, I'm leaving. And she's like packing her bag.
Yeah, she gets a call from George Hilton, who asks her to meet him
at a
junkyard outside of town. So that's above
so then
board.
She's at this junkyard, and like for some reason car doors are slamming by themselves, and fucking the hoods are slamming, cars are falling over, and George Hilton's there.
He's there, but he gets scared. The cop is also there because he followed Jennifer, so he gets scared and he leaves. So then Jennifer goes back to her apartment, and she runs into Sheila.
Yeah, and Sheila wants to be her roommate in her new place. And they try to get in the elevator to go
but it
back
goes
up,
down to the basement.
It goes down into the basement. So the killer.
So they're like, well, while we're here, let's just explore the basement.
It seemed like Edwige was kind of staying back, and Sheila's just walking around, and the killer burns the fuck out of her with some steam
from a boiler. The boiler was sabotaged by the killer to kill Jennifer, but it ends up killing Sheila instead.
Right, but I mean, I feel like that could have been avoided, by falling down or something.
Yeah, or anything.
Instead of flailing around for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that happens in Silent Madness too, but it's a little more believable because the guy's like holding her up to the thing. But anyway, she's just standing there and just lets it, I guess.
So then we get some of our favorite cat and mouse around.
I don't like this shit.
But it was a lovely set.
It was pretty.
And then you see a flashlight and you think it's the Golden Glove killer, but it's really George.
Yeah, Andrea or
and George is like, if you really think it's me, just go. And he like lets her go up the stairs.
Well, no, he says that he's innocent, but she doesn't believe him. So the police come and they chase him, and but he gets away. So at the same time, Miss Moss is she finds out she's like, David's missing David's gotten loose or whatever.
Yeah.
So then Professor Isaacs.
She drops her tray, and the cop hears like a bang from next door, but he didn't care.
And then Professor Isaacs, the violin guy, Sheila's dad, he's like super upset about about Sheila, and he's just like playing his violin, I guess, about it.
Yeah, you hear the violin next door, but
So Jennifer's
the photographer's coming to pick Jennifer.
But Jennifer's like, fuck this for real. Like I'm leaving. Like I'm not gonna play your stupid games, and I'm out. So, but while she's like packing, she gets attacked.
Well, all the cops are like outside the building. They leave her alone, and she's like brushing her hair when the Golden Glove man comes through the window.
You keep calling him the Golden Glove man, like
but she breaks into the violin teacher / Sheila's house. And we see Mrs. Moss's son, David Moss,
his body's in a chair. Yeah.
And we see the violin as a tape recording. Yep. And in comes the killer, and it's the dad.
Yeah, he takes up. I thought he had a really cool, like weird, whatever that's weird. Who we used to wear? Oh God, I want some oven in my oven. That guy. I gotta have you. Gotta have you. He'd like would wear all this like all like latex or like a full latex mask.
He looked cool, but he says he got the idea from finding David Moss watching his daughter standing there. Which does that mean? Like the first time
Glenn Meadmore. It's Glenn Meadmore. He was like a punk, like a.
I don't think I know.
It's like a rock. it's country punk or something. It's some weird shit.
You wanted to say rockabilly is what you were starting to say.
No, it wasn't.
Country
It's not
punk
that.
is
It's
rockabilly. Good
called
call.
something. It's it's not. It's called like he was like friends with like the goddess bunny and
We're
stuff.
so close to the end here, though. So it's the violin dad.
Cowpunk.
He says he got
Sorry.
He says he got the idea from David, but he was going to use it to take care of all the bad influences on his lesbian daughter. And he takes the son's corpse and throws it over the stairs. And I think, did he drug her? Like,
Well, no, okay, so
he passes out.
No,
She's like out of it.
Here's the deal. He had gotten David to dress up like him in all of the times that you saw the killer and he didn't kill anybody. That was David.
Yeah.
Dressed up as him. So then when he accidentally he admits that he accidentally killed Sheila with the steam because he meant for it to be for Jennifer, but he like chloroforms her.
Okay, he chloroforms her. Is about to toss her over the edge.
But no, he throws David's body down the open stairwell before that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was like, why? I mean,
it wasn't quite the level of Don't Torture a Duckling when that guy was falling with all the close-ups on the face scraping.
No.
We didn't get that, but it was a nice fall. But he's about to throw Edwige over when George Hilton comes and saves the day. They're fighting, and we see George Hilton have a flashback when he sees some blood about his dad dying when he was a little kid.
Yeah, that's the last note I read. I was like, oh, cool. We find out why George Hilton had a blood phobia. Like, I even needed to know that. I didn't need that flashback.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, at that point, it was a moot point at that point.
I mean, it didn't matter.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Yeah.
And then the cops are listening to a recording of him admitting his guilt. So they know they got the right guy. And then we get another girl getting that phone token, calling up to the top floor, and it's over. So yeah, but that was like when there's the glove guy with Edwige in her bedroom when her and Marilyn are trying to sleep. That's David, right?
Yeah.
Just
anytime it's like not lethal. Okay. Basically. Yeah. Okay, so kill count. One, we have Luna. She's stabbed 3 times in the pelvic region. Her throat slit by Professor Isaacs with a scalpel. That's 4 minutes into the 4 minutes into the movie. Then we have Mizara Harrington. She's drowned in her bathtub by Professor Isaacs at 22 minutes. So that's almost 20 minutes later. Adam is stabbed in the stomach by Professor Isaacs off screen, but we see his body at 53 minutes. So that's like almost 30 minutes later. And then we have Marilyn. She's stabbed in the stomach by Professor Isaacs and she bleeds out at 1 hour and 5 minutes. Sheila is accidentally burned to death by her father with a hot jet of steam from a boiler at 1 hour and 24 minutes. And then David Moss is found dead in a chair, presumably killed by Professor Isaacs off screen, but he's found at 1 hour and 29 minutes. And then Professor Isaacs is thrown over a railing by Andrea in self-defense and falls to his death at 1 hour and 33 minutes. So, if there's not many kills, I guess like they timed them out okay. Yeah. Like, so it wasn't like just one in like 53 minutes, like all at once at the end. But, it's not great, I don't think. But
I thought it was a well-paced, tight little package.
I found myself getting confused quite a bit.
Yeah, there's that.
I got less confused with the other one. Well, I've seen this one a lot, but I'd forgotten a lot about it. But
this was my first time with Bloody Iris.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I thought I'd let you borrow it before. I used to love this one a lot, but whatever. I mean, I still liked it. I just didn't like it as much as I used to. So, I have a little bit of trivia. So, the Italian movie poster for Dirty Harry is seen in the opening sequence. Yep. The director, Giuliano Carnemaio, a.k.a. Anthony Ascott, focused mostly on spaghetti westerns and comedic sexy all'Italiana. Sexy comedy Italian style is what that translates to. So the writer, Ernesto Gastaldi, wrote more than 100 movies and dozens of novels. He was also a director. The composer, Bruno Nicolai, I used to have this on vinyl, but I sold it to because I needed money for Christmas. Anyway, So he also did music for the Italian movie Django from 1966, and he did the music for the Italian version of Romeo and Juliet.
The one with Olivia Hussey's tits. Yeah.
And we talked about how we talked about it's not the same one. That's not the same one. That's not the same one. Okay, fine, whatever. But this happened with Riz Ortolani too. That composer Quentin Tarantino really likes Riz Ortolani and Bruno Nicolai, so he's used their music in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Kill Bill Volume 2. He performed one of the songs on the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack. I Vito Aspara. He did music for Case of the Scorpion's Tail, The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave, All the Colors of the Dark, Your Vice is a Locked Room, and Only I Have the Key. Basically, he worked a lot with Sergio Martino. He also did the music for The Red Queen Kills 7 Times and 1979's Caligula. There was a novelization of the film that was written by Michael Hudson in 2015.
I'd read it.
Yeah, I would too. So, what'd you rate it over there, Jeremy? Out of 5.
Out of 5, I would give it probably like a 2.5. I will say I liked I like the other one better.
I feel the same. I used to think that this was my favorite, like Giallo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like this time I was like, I would have given it probably a 4 in the past, but like now I think I'm going for a loose 3.5, like 3.25, 3.5.
Yeah,
I mean it's beautiful.
It beautifully shot, and I don't know. I felt like I said, I got confused like a bunch of times with like the flashbacks.
That happens.
Shit like that.
That comes with the territory with Giallos, but like less so in some of them than this one.
I'm going with a gentleman's 3, right in the middle of you guys. I thought it was a little clunky at parts, but there was a lot of stuff I really
The music's
enjoyed.
Great. The cinematography is always in these are always they're beautiful movies.
We're talking about the future, but I'm talking about the future right now. But we also watched another movie with the same main actors that we're getting ready to do for next week, and everything that I liked about this, I liked a lot more in the other movie.
Yeah.
But I think that's unfair because Strange Vice Miss Awards. I think it's a masterpiece.
Also, I think, but this came out after Strange Vice. But Strange Vice is more of like a murder mystery. I mean, they're all murder mysteries, but that one's way more of a murder mystery. This one's more of like
more slasher.
This one goes on the more slasher side than.
Yeah, that one's a lot more Clue.
Yeah,
a lot more Clue.
Yeah. And the twist in that one makes more sense. I mean, a lot of these, they're going for the way it looks, the sound, like the music.
Yeah.
Like beauty
this
and less on plot.
And
it's always going to be like, the least likely. They don't want you to be able to guess who the killer is. So it's like
concealing it.
But the way they do that is by just confusing the shit out of you. And you have a lot of plot holes.
Like in these movies, killers are the smartest motherfucker ever who everything goes super right for the killer. It's like they're faster.
But I mean, Dario Argento is like everyone shits their pants over him, and I think he's great. I do, but like,
I like his horror stuff more than this.
But like, me too. Well, actually, that's not true. Tenebrae is my favorite movie by him, and that's actually the most logical one. Yeah. But he's like, all of his movies like have so many plot holes. It's fucking Swiss cheese, but they're beautiful.
Again, the killers are always like, I know everyone that you know, and I know where they live, and I can get there faster.
But I think Dario Argento. I think a lot of these people are like, I want to make a piece of art, and the movie and artistic. Like the plot is second to that.
Yeah.
So
there's like a movie that came out in 2017. It was a French movie called Night Plus Heart. It was like
I saw that.
Giallo.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
it was okay.
Really on the money for going back to this style of sleekness.
They showed it at Central, didn't they?
Thriller. Yeah, it's one of the first movies I remember going to see.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the end of our episode. So stay gagged on Fans of the Dead podcast.
Stay gagged on Ritzy's salami sandwich in a car when Marianne's getting killed.
Oh yeah. Maryland. What do you want to stay gagged on, Jeremy? It's nothing for stay gagged on like George Hilton. I mean,
a Boston cream pie.
But it does not. It's usually from the movie. It's not from something from his life.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Stay gagged on fucking Edwige. Was it Finetch?
Oh, Edwige. She is.
Edwige.
She is the most beautiful woman.
She has the best nipple.
I now all of a sudden need to see almost everything that she's in.
Oh, she's in a ton. So
I know she is. I IMDb'd her, and it was just it's like holy shit, she's on a lot of these.
Ton of shit, but
she was in Hostel Part 2 also, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
she is.
Like the lady in the bathtub.
I think so.
Or is that?
I don't know. No, she's in Part 2 though. But and stay gagged on all of our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Gag Me with a Knife Podcast, Twitter, Gag Knife Pod. Become a Patreon for early access to episodes, member shout outs, fan requested episodes,
when we get
bonus episodes. When we get to 10 members, we're gonna do a prize drawing. Buy our merch at Gag Me with a Knife Podcast. I already said that. GagMeWithAKnifePodcast.com. Our Patreon is www.patreon.com/GagMeWithAKnifePodcast. And we will see you next time. Jeremy is going to be with us again for the Strange Bites of Miss Work. And we continue our Giallo month.
I promise my power won't go out this time.
Well, see ya.
I thought we hit it well.
Well, yeah, sure.